My name is Lynsey Clark and I'm British. I work with Japanese and English. Obviously English is my native language and Japanese is my B language. So in consecutive I go both into English and into Japanese, but in conference interpreting I just go into English from Japanese. It's very important to be aware of the culture, both of the source language and the target language, but if you're aware of the culture you're interpreting from, so Japanese for me, then it just gives you a much better understanding of what the person is talking about. So if my delegate mentions something which I already know is a big issue in Japan, or I already know this news story, or I know why this is important to Japanese people, I can explain that much more clearly and much more accurately to my listener. Whereas if it was something that I wasn't aware of, I'm then just going on the words that the delegate is saying. I wouldn't have the extra background information which would help me to actually really understand their point of view and communicate that to my listener.
I'm from Norfolk and my languages are French and Chinese, and I work from them into English. It's quite important in a conference setting. I wouldn't say it's as important as it is in other settings, because in conferences it's quite an international atmosphere. Everyone's got some degree of cultural awareness, but speakers quite often like to introduce these cultural references, like in Chinese they'll throw in these like things about Buddhism or what Confucius said, and you've got to be really careful about that because it can be quite tricky, and so it's always best if you've kind of got a basic grounding in these things as well, so that you don't get absolutely stuck when they come up, because sometimes the speaker will just make this cultural reference and you just won't understand it. With culture as well, there's popular culture which might sometimes come out, so it's always best to keep reading the news of the country that, the foreign country, so that you can keep up to date with the news and popular culture and things like that as well.